Your device is requested to listen to the Two Factor podcast.
Have you guys been seeing those like street interviews that are fully AI, or like those gorillas that are making those vlogs like in the forest? Hot take, low key, some of them are racist. If you know, you know, like it seems a little bit targeted. Anyway, it just made me think that, okay, now like even content creation is fully getting sort of like smothered by AI, and some of it is genuinely like so satisfying. Like, have you seen those like glass fruits that get like cut up? Oh my god, like if you are not into ASMR, you'll get into ASMR just on the base of like those videos. But today's whole episode is about, is AI going to replace me? Is AI going to take my job? Wrong question. There is a completely different fear, right? Like, I was looking up jobs online because obviously job hunting, at the end of the day, like I have brown parents, like girls got to have a job, like I cannot be like just freelancing out here anyway. But not to think that freelancing is not a great job. It's just that, you know, like not everyone has my parents where they're pushing, you know, a career down my throat. Anyway, but this whole idea, is AI going to take my job, has been a super searched up question. And I thought that like I had to talk about it today. So hot take, as we do here on Two Factor, is hot take, scam, and then obviously your actionable steps. So the hot take that I've written down here is the real fear is not AI replacing us. It's the fact that our humanness was never valued in the first place. Tough. Just think about it. I'm going to say that one more time because like I don't think like it makes sense when you first like ponder on it, but the real fear is not AI replacing us. It's the fact that our humanness was never valued in the first place. So the scam is, right? The scam is what I think, and it's supported by this super famous theory called Taylorism, is that we were dehumanized before AI. Yeah, like I saw this theory, like what happens if AI has just been there, like just existing from back when, and then it just suddenly got good, but they were just like trying to test if like people were going to use it, or like they were just like training AI for like all these years to just actually be good. So then when it came out, you can't really tell a difference what's AI, what's not. I'm not even going to get into that. Anyway, but we were dehumanized before AI. The theory is that in Taylorism, which is a scientific management theory, not Siri having a go here, no one's talking to you. She's a bit desperate, isn't she, sometimes? Like she'll just like come out of nowhere like, sorry, like respectfully, no one wants to talk to you. And I don't care that you found that thing on the web. Taylorism. Workers are seen as cogs in a machine to optimize output, right? It's Taylor's oldest time. Like, you know, when you think of like the rat race, you think of this, right? Like people just like working away, eye bags, there's like an edit about like, you know, sell a course online so you can escape the matrix, whatever. All right. The case study I want to use to support this is that Amazon warehouses were tracked by AI-driven systems, and you know your breaks are timed, efficiency metrics are prioritized. You know, they care about output more than your well-being and how you feel at work. And you know there was like a high turnover, like people just quitting left, right, and center because their mental health was going down the drain. You know, like no one likes being micromanaged, especially by a robot. And the idea is that AI is just the mirror. We've been long treated like machines. When you think about it, and when I think about how we've been kind of shaped to be like machines from day dot, is all the way from like primary school. A bell, right? People respond to a bell in order to eat food, in order to take a break, in order to determine, okay, like when can I relax, when can I essentially not relax, particularly for someone who is, you know, really taking school seriously or really wanting to like pursue well at school. Like you're putting your 100% for like a few hours, you get a 15-minute break, a few hours and you get a 30-minute break, and then you go home. This also a really interesting concept. Like if you go to a private school or a school that has a pretty strict uniform policy, if you wear blazers, the fact that that's also training you to like essentially transition to corporate wear really easily. We've been all treated like machines from day dot. Like this is not like an AI thing. This is not a new thing. So when we look at something that is a machine, Like, there's not too many differences between us and that. What's really being replaced is the feeling of replaceability. So the sense of, imposter syndrome, value dysphoria, a distorted sense of self in a professional like workplace or just in life, right? So a case study that I find super interesting for this one is the McKinsey report. So it happened in 2023 where around 60% of employees feared in artificial intelligence, but only 30% had roles that were actually at risk. The fear stemmed more from the corporate opacity than a lack of upskilling path. So people feared their job, but it's not that their job was becoming redundant. It was a fact that like they felt that someone else could do it better and they didn't have faith in themselves to attain a particular standard or level, right? So fear isn't rational. It's more systematic. It's the idea that, okay, well, if I know this robot can do a better job than me, what is something else I can offer? Okay. And you don't people say like, oh my God, AI is actually going to generate more jobs. So yeah, I think like the real problem is that people feel like they're going to be replaced more than having a fear of AI. But we also need to rationalize those thoughts. For example, you're not going to have AI generated food to eat. Like the hospitality business is going to be there. Okay. People still need a place to live. They're not going to want to talk a robot when wanting to buy a house. Real estate agencies are still going to be there. There are still so many jobs that are going to be there. And I feel like people underestimate brick and mortar jobs. They also underestimate people still having a personal brand and the humanness of being a personality online or the humanness that makes a job magical. I also feel like people are just gonna get so sick and tired of actually gonna get sick and tired of robots, and people are gonna get sick and tired of AI. Like when I think of why podcasts became so popular, it's because everyone was literally looking at short form. They still do. And then they just got sick and tired of it, so they went back to long form. Like the reason why cinemas are such a big thing now is because people were sick and tired in COVID of scrolling on their phone, that they were like, you know what, let's actually go watch a film where, you have to actually turn off your phone and you can't look at it and you can't have the three, bloody screens going at the one time, like your endorphins are going off the roof. But yeah, people are going to come back. People are going to have AI fatigued. And don't get me wrong, there are some incredible ways to use it. But also there is going to be a time and place. Even the richest of the riches are going to want to come back to those traditional, almost conservative ways of living, slow living, and just being human and appreciating the humanness and what it means to just kind of not be perfect all the time. But yeah, in terms of actionable steps, so if you are essentially trying to get a job or you want to, study something where you think that degree is not going to be in any use in, a few years' time, this is what I would do. And again, I'm not some tech startup. I'm not some sort of Steve Jobs. I'm not even, those brown aunties in India that can apparently see the future. I'm none of those, okay? But what I can say is something that has been able to leave amazing impressions in interviews, also get my foot in the door in interviews or on my resume, is this concept of emphasizing my humanness. I always talk about AI and technology in interviews. It's really weird. I talk about, you know what? There is a possibility that this role can be chosen to be replaced, but this is what I can offer that maybe AI can't. And right now, in a world where technology and AI is such an important topic and people are talking about it a lot, there are things that only humans can see that maybe technology and AI can't. For me, it's ethics. It's about values. It's about humanness. It's about wittiness. Yes, AI can come up with it, but if you put an amazing prompt into ChatGPT, the human still needs to critique it. So again, being an analyst, being almost like a consultant of your work in lifetime. At the end of the day, the human brain is a way more powerful computer than any computer in the world. So if you train someone and someone actually has the brain capacity to think over the horizon, they're going to be way smarter than like your computer. So for me is actually emphasize more on your humanness and your rawness and your authenticity than ever before. So that means being in touch with what makes you human. So goes back to journaling, thinking about what you like, what you don't like. How can you make people laugh? How can you be charismatic? Because there are so many different ways of demonstrating that humanness that isn't just about, that face-to-face interaction and just talking. There are so many ways for you to be in touch with that and then therefore leverage that. So for me, it's being a good writer. Yes, like AI can now write bloody anything it wants, but me being a good writer means I have a depth in what I think about, so I can communicate that depth quickly because it's already stored in my brain. I don't need to look it up on a prompt. You know what I'm saying? The second thing I feel is like actually be well versed in AI and in chat and technology, because you don't want to be technology illiterate to the point where when you are advocating for humanness, it sounds ignorant. Or when you are advocating for like what you bring to the table, you don't sound ignorant of the actual reality that we live in. So actually being literate and then seeing the gaps in like being literate, not illiterate, being literate in those terms in what's happening is actually what's also going to set you apart. At the end of the day, when people say, oh, AI is going to bring more jobs, yeah, it will bring more jobs to people that like obviously know what they're doing and like are in the technology space or are in that space, especially if you're not going to be trained up for that role. So it's important for you to be literate so then you know where those gaps are, and then you can talk about those gaps in interviews, or you can talk about those gaps when filming content, or, you could have a thought about it and be filming content, and you never know. Maybe this video goes viral and like I'll make my bag somewhere. You never know. But the fact that I'm actually thinking about or I'm learning about like what AI and what technology is gives me an ability to have a thought on it and therefore be able to like make something of it. Me sharing my opinion is where my humanness comes in, but then me talking about the thing that might actually one day replace me, for example, is something that like technology can't do, right? You can't have technology AI squared, right? Imagine AI having an opinion on AI and then AI then putting it out and saying it on camera. Like it's just gonna send us. Third is have trust and belief that people will have this concept of AI fatigue, technology fatigue, replaceability fatigue as well. Like people are gonna not, when they realize that, okay, well, you can do this quicker by doing this, right? Which is great. And you should be using it for things that like you shouldn't be spending time on. But there are like arts and craftsmanship and jobs like being a good writer, being a great artist, being someone who is well-versed, someone who, a people's person, relationship managers, matchmaking, so many different roles are, if they were to be replaced, people will get sick and tired of it and want an option to come back. So be the reason they come back. Be the option when they turn around. That's what they look at. People say, oh, now you can, with the first thing that I said in this video is that people are doing street interviews using AI, right? Like people are making those like gorilla videos and, it's just gorillas in the wild, like, vlogging, and they're all AI generated. When they don't want to see something like that, be the person that they look at when they turn back. Because at the end of the day, you hear our, older generations talking about like, I actually want to talk to someone in real life. People still go into bloody goddamn Telstra to do something that, in terms of click a button online. People still want that as an option. So give them the best option that they can have. And the only way you can do that is to tap into your humanness, because that's the thing that they're going to want to see. They want to see an option that is so removed from AI and technology. That's the thing that you're presenting out. You can use it 100% to like optimize like your systems and, make things better, faster and cheaper, so then you can put more quality and money and investment into things that actually make it more human. So, the concept of marketing. Marketing is one of the most human things that I feel like is part of a business, because it's, as much as it's KPI driven, it also is the part where you can be creative, and creativeness is humanness, right? if we consume more than we produce, we get sick and tired of it. We feel fatigued, right? So let's actually use AI for things to like do the redundant jobs and then really tap into our creativeness. I have gone on a little bit of a rant, but one thing I can say is the fear of AI is not about AI. It's actually about replaceability. So just think about ways where you can really emphasize what makes you you, what makes you human. And you best believe like there ain't no one that can replace you. Okay. It's what Beyonce said, to the left, put the box to the left, you know. I can find another man here in a minute because he'll be here in a minute. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? You are irreplaceable. All right. So you know what? I'm actually gonna listen to that on the way back home. Replaced by Beyonce, but yeah. Girl, no one's taking your job. And if they're going to take your job, okay, you just find a place that's going to value you and it's going to value you for you being human. And trust me, like literally trust me, like it's all a goddamn scam, okay? People just try to do this to scare you. People who feed into that fear are literally the ones that will get replaced, and they'll be so consumed by it to the point where they'll become stagnant and they'll actually let what's happening around them happen to them. You're gonna be fine. Anyway, this is a short little like thought vibe space feeling gray area that I really wanted to talk about. I don't know if any of that made sense. I'm also not qualified to say nothing, but let's keep it two-factor. Don't tell anyone that I'm not qualified, but
Your device is requested to listen to the Two Factor podcast.